My job is to set up for the next presentation. Imagine ministry in an urban context, engaging the community in understanding and addressing relevant issues. I'm going to use three persons to do this setup. When you start talking about community in an urban context, a whole lot of things we have to deal with: blighted houses, poorly funded schooling, crime, vandalism, poor job base, Black Lives Matter, gentrification, the LGBTQ community, had to add that one, of course, mental health issues. Three persons that helps us to deal with this that I want to use today. One is Emmanuel Scott, the other is John Richard Bryant, and the last person is MC William. Emmanuel Scott, his son, Emmanuel Scott Jr., wrote a book called Quotables, and in that book, he said that every preacher in every situation should treat the disease, not the symptoms, that we should find the cause and not deal with the effects, that our job is to get the antecedent rather than worry about the consequence, that we are to deal with the ultimate, not just the immediate, and our job is to launch out into the deep and not just scratch the surface. All of these issues that I've just said is basically symptoms, and we are called to figure out the cause. The power of darkness is real. It must be met with a greater power known as light. Called Bishop John Bryant this morning, said, Bishop Bryant, I won't quote you, but I hold this quote from almost 30 years ago, from one of the greatest moments we ever had in the Hampton experience, where he was the lecturer on the day, how to grow the church. He only got to his third point. His third point was you have to be dogmatic. He made the dogmatic point about Jesus Christ is the Son of God. But the piece I want to quote from him is the setup before he got to the third point. Of course, he had 10. We never got to the other 7 because the house went completely crazy. But what John Richard Bryant said before he got to that was that every pastor needs to know when God calls you to pastor, he doesn't just call you to the church, he calls you to the community. And if you drive in and drive out and do not change the church or change the community, then the community has the right to burn it down. I called him this morning to make sure, after all these years, are you still there? He says, I am exactly still there. And then the last person is MC Williams. MC Williams, another preacher who has outrun us to the Father's house. He was a repetitious preacher. If you ever got a chance to hear MC Williams, he would wear you out. I mean, he would just say the same thing over and 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 over again. I heard him at the Metropolitan Church some many days ago, and he was dealing with the story of Dives and Lazarus. He called the sermon Proximity and Destiny, and he kept saying proximity, 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 proximity. That which is near you, that which is close to you, proximity. And then he said destiny, 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 that which is beyond where you're going, destiny, 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 destiny. And he said what messed up David's destiny was that he didn't handle Lazarus, who was in his proximity. And the record is this: I'm going to separate the lambs from the goats on this. I was hungry, you did not feed me. I was thirsty, you did not give me a drink. I was illiterate, you did not teach me to read. I was out of my mind, and you did not try to help me. I was addicted, and you did not try to cure me. You're going to say, when did we do these? He said, when you did it to the least of me. Depart from me, ye workers of iniquity. I know you're not. Man was talking to a sales force, told his sales force that y'all are not pulling in the kind of sales that need to be pulled in. Y'all got to do better. And one of the persons, after the manager finished talking, said, well, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. His reply was, your job is not to make him drink. Your job is to make him thirsty.